Hey, Laptop Recruiter family, how are we doing? Andy here from Recruitment Marketing International. Just a quick one for you today, and it's very, very simple. Where you are now, where you want to be in 1 year. And the message is this: it is fixable. It is fixable. On the last video, I mentioned that word, which actually came from my kid's mum. And in Wales, which is, if you don't know Wales, in the UK, you've got England, and Wales is about as west as you can go. And they are a beautiful breed of human. They are ultra friendly, ultra direct, ultra chatty, and they enjoy life. They enjoy life. And someone like myself who's worked for a lot of years in investment banking, then in the media space, and worked in many cities, countries over the years, come into a place like Wales and just seeing how people live and operate, there are some life lessons. So I'm not going to be drawing out an expansive set of models here, but also I know as an entrepreneur, the most important thing is your belief. And I've joined masterminds in the past, and I'm always part of a mastermind usually for business. And if I think about one mastermind in the business, I spent absolute fortune on, went all the way to LA, and essentially the big hack from those 3 days there was get more sleep. And that's advice from somebody doing 30 million, was get more sleep. And by the way, that's 30 million as with a profit ratio of probably about 70-80%. So not a business owner with 30 million, but in fact actually making no money, which you see quite often in recruitment. So know this, it's fixable. It's fixable. Wherever you are now, you're in a place, hopefully you're in a good place. But I'm only saying this out of some messages we got. And I reference empathy. And I don't often use words like that because it can be seen as a weak word. However, I'm very aware of the human psychology. I've always been massive about psychology. And wherever you are right now, just know this. You might be in a good place, and my advice would be, and you're probably doing better than I would ever dream of. But wherever you are now, if you're doing well, you make that work. You hit that hard. You make that hey, right now. As the sun shines there, you reap that right now. If you're a place of plateau, just be aware that this after working with thousands of recruitment companies and working hands-on with over 1,000. If you're plateauing, so I mentioned feast and famine, but you're doing the same sort of thing all the time, you're either growing by 1% or you're dying by 1%, or whichever the number's going to be. And be aware that 1% can become 5%, 10%, 20%, 40% very quickly. So if you're plateauing, preempt that, and don't let that contentment become your enemy. And then on the other side of it, you might be in a place of real struggle. You might be in a place right now of absolute pain, and I'm very open about this. I comes of age, I guess. I was in a very bad place about 12 years ago, and this is me. I was in a place which I didn't think I was possible of being in, and it was nothing to do with business, etc. I actually, at that point, you'd say, probably in lots of ways, my peak in every way, physically, etc. And I was in a dark place, and I put it in a post the other week. I had a fairly big townhouse, and I rented out a room just for company in this townhouse, and had a girl live with me and her boyfriend. It turns out was from the SBS, which is like the SAS or Data Force in the USA. And he said to me, Andy, listen, you need to go and sort your head out. And by the way, I didn't know he was in that until he actually left it. And I'm still friends with that housemate to this day. His advice to me was this: go to Koh Phangan. Well, he actually said, just go to Thailand and do Muay Thai. Muay Thai. So Muay Thai, for those of you who don't know, is the art of 8 limbs. So essentially, you've got your fists, you've got your elbows, you've got your knees, and you've got your shins. I'd never done it before. I'd done martial arts as a kid, but never to any level, just enjoyment. But I did it. I actually just booked a flight and went down to a place called Horizon in Koh Phangan. So I flew to Bangkok, then Bangkok to wherever it was, what would have been on the coast, and then a boat to Koh Phangan. Had to climb up the cliff, which is on the other side of Koh Phangan. They have parties there. Climb up the cliff, literally some steps in it, go into this sort of jungly area with snakes and stuff, and yeah, it wasn't particularly pleasant. And they've got these huts, and that's my first introduction to Muay Thai, and loved it. First day, broke my toe. They put Tiger Balm on it, and you carry on, and you don't back down. And what I learned from that process, I came back from being away. I actually left that gym, was there for a week, and went to another gym called 𝐷𝐞𝐜 gym for a week. Then when I came back, I carried on. Unfortunately, just by complete luck, I found, for me, the best gym I've ever come across, Muay Thai, which is 𝐁𝐴𝐲 Martial Arts Academy. They've got WBC champions, all just dripping. Check them out. If you're into Muay Thai, I recommend them. And you wouldn't know that they were world champions because they were just such beautiful people. But that gym, and the guy who runs it, John Jarvis, that gym dragged me through hell. They didn't know I was going through hell. But what I did do is I recognised that my behaviour in the day, and at that point, I quit the corporate world. I had a boatload of property, and I was just sort of starting on the entrepreneurial real journey. But I was going through all sorts of things personally, and that drive to get better at Muay Thai, and I was never, nothing, but just going to that club 3 times a week, doing one-to-ones with Alan Soy, check him out, what a man. With Paulo da Silva, again, what a man. Ruth Ashdown, these guys are all world champions, British champions, and just seeing these beautiful people. And my daily habits of, right, I want to get better at Muay Thai meant that I was getting up and running. And then one of the things that you do is you run 400 meters, and then you do these crazy things to have this core. So I do that in the morning. Then I'd work. Then I go and do my one-to-one or etc. at the gym. Then I come back, and at that same time, that's when I started the entrepreneurial journey. And I knew that I would never go back working for the man. I quit a very well-paid job. But what I did do, sorry guys, but what I did do in that process was I learned to be resilient again. I was growing up as a kid. I came from a very small town. No one in my family had been to university. I had a dream of going to the Royal Marines. My dad was buying me books in the Royal Marines as a kid. Is a sort of a silent acceptance, but I wanted to, was join the Royal Marines after school. But then I had an injury on both my knees. That's from sport. Then I found drinking girls, I guess was what they say. So that happened, and then I went on to a completely different way. But no one in my family should have gone to university. Then I did. Then I left there, and I came back home to my little town. I was working for Tesco's warehouse, which is like a big Amazon warehouse. So you do a 6 to 2, 2 to 10, 10 to 6 shift on what they call a yak stacking. I did that for probably 6 months. My friends were there from school, and then one day I said, fuck this. And I was left and went to London, and then got into Nomura, biggest Japanese bank in the world at the time, investment bank, on a £5 an hour admin job. And then I got spotted because working hard, and things just developed. And I became resilient without even knowing it. I wasn't resilient. Well, I did a lot of sport as a kid, and I guess I built in a strength. What happened though, in that dark period, I think I lost my resilience, and I think I lost who I am. And I won't share too much, but I lost who I am, and I rebuilt myself. And the way that I did that was, number one, I started reading the things that I read when I was in my early 20s, when I went to London, the things like Tony Robbins books. I went to a Tony Robbins event in St Andrews in Scotland, and it was called Life Mastery. It's basically, you don't eat for 7 days, and then you have these enemas and all this sort of stuff. But it's actually fab. And at the time, a book called The Secret had just come out, and someone was telling me about it. I shared a room with a guy who I didn't know, and he said about his book, and I went to the bookshop and pretty much scanned through. I was like, fuck, this is great. I bought about 10 copies and gave them away to people on that course. Now, The Secret's been sort of, spoken negatively since. However, it's about it's law of attraction thinking. I don't believe you can manifest diamonds by sitting here and going on, but I believe that you can manifest what you want. I've manifested women in my life, as in my ideal partner. I've manifested business opportunities. I've manifested the exact amount per month I'm going to make in the business. I've created things which are just crazy, and that means I've got them in the house now. Where I am now in my office, I've got on the wall printed out exactly what's going to happen. And when you're in a dark place, you tend to get in a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is you think negatively, which means you take less actions or negative actions, and you actually create your own world. So when COVID started, I probably had 75 members. So usually we work in a way whereby if a member's got a problem, we all help the member, including me. But what I did, I took on, quote, emergency calls. So a member's going through hell, I'll jump on a call with them. But that's not the best way to help someone. They want, when we get together live, we have like an NED approach, which is on day 2, you've got myself, you've got my team, and you've got 50, 60, 70 other recruitment search business owners helping you with your problem and creating your plan. And I did a lot of these emergency calls, and I, looking back, my battery went from that to that in that sort of 7-8 months. And virtually every single problem that person had started off with a problem with the business, but in fact what's going on was a personal problem. It was a personal problem virtually every single time. And it wasn't to do with a tactic, a strategy, a template, it wasn't nothing like that. It was to do with a personal problem. Which brought me back to just assessing the obvious. Is like, shit, it does all go back to this. It does go back to this. So if you are in that dark place right now, I get it. Know this, it is fixable. Now you probably can't see the jump from where you are right now to where you want to be. So you want to break it down into simple milestones. And the first milestone might be getting out of bed, going to the gym, calling 10 clients if you're not using, quote, our strategies. But you can get to milestone 1, and then bit by bit your confidence will grow. And as entrepreneurs in recruitment, what we never do is when we get, I have members who join me doing, say, 150K, and they're 6 months in and they've got to, say, 400K, and the goal is to get 300K for the year. Very rarely does someone say, Andy, this is brilliant, this is amazing. It's Andy, this template, or this webinar, or this podcast, or this project management, or this hiring process you've got, or there's a problem with this. It's like you've more than doubled in 6 months. You're probably going to quadruple this year minimum. You need to take a step back and actually fill your battery back up. But we never do it as recruitment entrepreneurs. We always just move to the next milestone. So be aware about, just get to your first milestone. Just get to your first milestone, whatever that is. And for me, the most important thing, and these videos right now, let's make sure my daughter's not called. No. Most important thing for me is this, your body, your meat suit. There's a direct link between the anatomy and the psychology, a direct link between both of these. And if you don't think that's the case, and quite frankly, you're a fool. You're a fool. If you know it's the case, you're not acting on it, then you've got a massive opportunity. Again, I've paid crazy, I mean ridiculous money for a mastermind, been away all the way to LA. Essentially, you need to sleep. That's the big hack here. That's why I've got an Oura ring. So your body is huge. So whether you're at a point of you're smashing it, or if you're at a point where you're not smashing it, I'm probably talking to more of those who are not smashing it right now, know this, it's fixable. You probably need to change. You probably need to be doing something different from what you've done, which brings normally inspiration. And like anything you try new for the first time, it's like, if you've got the right mentality, you get excited. But I say to new members, depending on what program they join us at, I'll say, you should be calling me every name under the sun and about to throw your laptop out the window in that first 4 weeks. If you're not pushing the needle hard enough. You're not pushing the needle hard enough. So you should get to a point of fucking hell. If not, you're not pushing hard enough. So if you're in that bad place, no. I've spoken to hundreds of people in your place. On the other side, I had a call from what an amazing member, and if you're watching, you know who you are. An amazing member who was London based. They come to London events, and he lights up the room, just an amazing energy. And this gentleman, he came through to us. One of my team at the time came through, spoke to one of my team at the time, and then said, I need to speak to Andy. So we got on a call, and essentially he had he said, right, I need to leave the program. I was like, yeah, but you've gone past 1 million. What's going on? I've got this tax issue, blah, blah, blah. Okay, right, let's just take a deep breath. What's going on? Right, I've got this tax. Okay, let's break it down. Let's give me some base fundamentals. Right, what's the tax bill due by when? What's the bank balance due by when? What's the pipeline? What you're about to get paid in the next 90 days, etc. Right, this is base fundamentals to start with. Anyway, it was fixed within 10 minutes, but the panic came in. The panic came in, as it does. And say this guy is absolute joy to be around, and very flamboyant, and as entrepreneurs, people are built in different ways, and that shock had created this flamboyance, but in a negative way. So depending on who you are, you're going to have a different. Remember, everything's cause and effect. You start strategy. Everything we do is about strategy, but also the more I do these videos, the more I actually speak to you guys, and the more I get feedback. It's like, yeah, it's this too. So why is it somebody can run through the same strategies in the first 3 months and almost the same, same workflow, similar templates, etc., and then go on to do 200K, and then someone else in the same place is going to be struggling with the same thing because they haven't done it. It doesn't work. If you've done it, no, why not? Well, don't think it'll work. Wrong word. Don't use the word don't. Can't. Don't allow my kids to say can't. So know this: if you're in that dark place, it is fixable. And I wish I could give you a hug, but what I can tell you is this. The thing that I've learned over the years is what goes in here comes out here. And what comes out here is what you start to say, and it's what you start to do. So you want to make sure you're always putting good stuff in your head. Like around my house, if you saw my house, you'd be like, what the fuck, honestly. But it subconsciously drives you. And I know this. I had an application called Subly Messages a decade ago, which brings on about 10, 20,000 images, words on the screen. It was words in those days on the screen. You can't see them consciously, but your subconscious can. And it reprograms you. But I won't get into too much about that. But what I'm saying is make sure you put good stuff in. And that means have good stuff around you. You watch good stuff. The simple thing, I'd recommend physically getting moving. Tyson Fury, loathe him or love him. Look at what he's achieved in the last couple of years. He talks about his mental health. If you go to Joe Rogan podcast, Tyson Fury, find it. When he started to try and get fit again, he couldn't run to a lamppost. And now he's, the best in the world by far. And if you're a Deontay Wilder fan, I'm sorry. But just take that first step and know everything is fixable. Everything is fixable. So you're going to be okay. It will be okay. But what you must do is just take that first step. And no matter what it means, you get out of bed in the morning, you make your bed. Crazy, I'm sure you do. There's another great, there's an Admiral. If you search for Make Your Bed Admiral on YouTube, there's a video about, he spoke at some university graduation about the 10 rules of life. The first thing is make your bed. I believe in that hugely as well. Just first thing you do is done, right. Don't press snooze. So if you're in that bad place, it is fixable. If you're in a plateau place, don't let that become a place where it goes down. If you're in a place of dominance now, which is going really well, you make sure you ride that. And make sure what comes in, you invest. Don't just make the money. Well, I believe in your businesses, there's two things you should be looking to do. One is make it into a cash producing machine. So often I speak to somebody and they say, we're doing $1 million. Oh, fab. What's the profit? Well, the profit's this. Okay, what are you taking home? Garble, 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 garble. And then if they speak to one of my team first, we'll have one set of numbers. And then if you speak to someone else in the team or myself next, different set of numbers. What the fuck's going on? To be real with yourself. So if you're in business to actually make a cash lifestyle, make sure it damn creates a cash lifestyle. Look at the retain video I did the other day. If you're looking to sell an asset, you want to make sure that you've got something that, as I mentioned on the previous video about changing the wheels in the car, you work to that methodology, but daily. So wherever you are, it is fixable. And don't forget, you get this moving. Get this moving, this will start to take care of itself. Cannot stress that enough. I won't do it, but like Tony Robbins, there's something called a power move, which is essentially, I'm dying to do it. If you Google it, you find it. And like Tony Robbins or loathe Tony Robbins, I don't really care. All I know is that it did something for me. And to this day, I can literally do, when we did it, the move, and my body reacts in the same way and tingles in the same way it did when I first did that 15, 20 years ago. So with that said, you can change it. One final thing, there's a YouTube channel called Matteus, MATEUSZM. Find that. I've probably watched those videos 10,000 times, literally. I spoke to the guy who makes his videos. I followed him right at the beginning, and I was speaking to him. He was going to make videos for us, but then I thought doing motivational videos for recruitment was a little bit crass. Now, you know, he's got millions and millions of views. In the same way, there's a guy called Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. He now gets paid probably, I don't know, 50, 60, 100 grand to speak. I went for dinner with him in London about 10 years ago when he was nobody, he was just kicking off. And surround yourself with good people, put good stuff in your head. So with that said, enough talking, out. It is fixable. Do it. Now, if you've been following me for a period of time, my name's Andy Whitehead. I'm from recruitmentmarketinginternational.com. If you want help right now, there are 4 ways we can help you. Number 1, join the Laptop Recruiter Facebook group, as I just said. Number 2, watch any of these on-demand client and candidate automation, inbound and growth webinars, whether it be the Laptop Recruiter, whether it be the $1 Million Recruiter, plus the hundreds and hundreds of other podcasts you can find on iTunes, on our website, on YouTube, etc. Number 3, if you want to reach out to me personally, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, often you guys reach out to me, you've been following me now for 8 years, now's the time. If you've got a question for me, send me a message on Facebook or on LinkedIn, I'll come back to you personally. Or number 4, if you're now ready to become a client, simply schedule a call, head to our website or head to the Laptop Recruiter Facebook group and then reach out to me personally inside there, and I'll give you my diary and let's book a call. So with that said, guys, I'll see you inside the Laptop Recruiter group. Let's do this.